The meeting is over. All the information is now official. And the next arc is here. Kuro no Kiseki. The site is now live, so go ahead and check that out for yourself. So I already talked about the 4 visuals that were leaked later on in the video. I recorded that before the shareholder meeting began, so I will talk about them specifically later on. But I'll just go ahead and talk about all the dialogue that's on the screen. Before I talk about all the dialogue, first let's talk about the background image of the website first. So right here we got, looks like some scenery that's being chained together. This could mean a couple things, maybe not being able to escape fate. You're tied to your destiny, and then we're trying to change that, or maybe something like worlds colliding or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you guys have some better ideas than me. This is what came to mind first off the bat. But anyways, let's be talking about the dialogue. First up, the game. This is officially starting the second half of the Trail series. That's freaking exciting. 10 games later, we are entering the second half of the series. 10 games later. Damn near 15 years later. We're at the halfway point of the series. Now this game is taking place in Calvard, as much as we all suspected it would. And now this is basically just talking about, the kind of, business and stuff they do. In the game. I'll detail it a little bit more later on. And then right here, something's gonna happen that's going to shake the entirety of Calvard. And I'm pretty sure, the protagonist is gonna, after a couple of requests, he's gonna find himself in some really deep shit, probably. And then we get here a lovely look at our protagonist and a little prologue detailing about his work. Now, I'll just give a brief summary here. So the kind of work that our protagonist does is it's a very behind the scenes type of business. The type of work they do here is very, I guess you'd call shady. Basically the complete opposite of the SSS. They'll do anything. And then this bottom half or little section here talks about a well-dressed girl, coming to the building. And the details that are provided about the girl confirms that this is the girl from the Ren episode. I do talk about that later in the video. And then a new series has begun. Now to talk about our protagonist here. Off the tops, we got quite a Lloyd lookalike here, right? I think that much is pretty glaring. So it's like a Lloyd and Reen hybrid. It's like if they had a baby, this is what it would look like. Because he's got the Lloyd getup along with Reen's belt accessories. God, speaking belts, why do people like using belts as accessories? And the kind of the Reen similar hairstyle, I think. Looking cool. It's time to go over all our visuals now. First one we got is the key visual here. This one's very interesting. I like this one. People are speculating this is either one of two people, either the MC or Graham Hart. One of the two. I'm probably on the same boat there. It's either the MC or Graham Hart. And now this is where it gets a little tricky. People are saying this is either Septarian or a summon. This earth thing right here, earthy life form, whatever. And then we got a female in the background. And here it is with all the text on it, with the official Kuro no Kiseki logo. Nice. Next up we have our 3 protagonists. Our East 9 adult lookalike over here, the dual wielding sword user, and then the guy in the middle, the Reen lookalike, who is 100% our protagonist, seems like. And on the right we have this very peculiar girl. Now if you saw the post-game episode featuring Ren, she looks oddly similar to the girl that tried to defend Ren. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go ahead and go back and search for the episode. I did post it probably like a couple days ago, or like last week or something, and you could probably get a little bit more insight on her that way. They look very similar. I think the biggest clue here is that, I mean, even though it's not in color, it's the hair tie thing right here is probably the biggest clue. I don't know for certain they're the same people, but I'm just kind of guessing based on what I'm seeing. Now, next on the list, our protagonists. Now graphically, man, playing a new Trails game for these graphics is gonna be wild. I'm really excited to see actual gameplay. Now, I believe the scenery looks very familiar. I believe it's the back when Hajimari was released, or when they announced it last year. There was this panel on the site that says there's no info on it. There was just a picture. And I believe this is the place that they're referring to. It looks oddly I think it is. Anyways, yeah, aside from that, I think you can definitely see the comparisons between Rin just from their back profile. But moving on. Next up, we got the girl. Now we actually have a frontal profile of her. She's very beautiful. And here you can definitely see the upgrade with the new engine on the character models. My god, freaking beautiful. Especially with the view of the town. Really nice, really nice. And then looks like we have her again, but with the new Arcus, the Zifa, I believe, is what they're gonna call it. And has a chain, long chain to it. Is this how they're going to cast arts in battle? Just throwing it out? I don't know, just guessing. But let's see. I think there's one more. Yeah, an actual in-game battle image. Now this one, I think, gives some more clarity on how the battle system is absolutely going to work. This is quite obviously the red-haired MC casting an art in battle. Now when I look at this, I immediately thought of FF7 Remake. Just wow, graphically that looks so damn good. Holy shit. Excuse my language, but my god, I cannot wait until they show more battle footage, and I can discuss this a little bit. Wow. And I believe that's it. That's it. Anyways, now it's time for the interview. Now, before I go over the interview with Kondo regarding Kuro no Kiseki, I do want to go over one thing real quick that really just came out of left field here, which is the release of Naruto no Kiseki to PS4 in 2021. I did not expect this in the least. It's a very pleasant surprise. Are they now hinting that this could possibly be canon? I don't know. Last time this game was released in 2012, and getting this released on PS4 8 years later, we'll see. But a very pleasant surprise. But anyways, on to the interview. So Gamatsu graciously translated this very quickly for us. So I'm gonna go down bullet point by bullet point. Briefly just talking about it. So first on the list, we got the game is set in the Republic of Calvard, the east side of the continent, in the year S1208. Now this should take place roughly a year or year and a half, maybe, after the events of Hajimari, which would also be about a year and a half during the middle of this treaty. If you remember seeing the post-game episode of Hajimari no Kiseki, so that would occur during the middle of that. The title is derived from the Japanese word for daybreak, reme. This is reflected in the colors associated with the protagonist. The story is focused on characters who can be described as somewhat in the gray zone of society: a detective, negotiator, a bounty hunter, etc. Kondo said it would have been nice if the Legend of Heroes Hajimari no Kiseki was titled Chiro no Kiseki, Trails of White, instead to complement Kuro no Kiseki. That would have been interesting. And the game engine is brand new. Finally, we get a new engine for the Trail series. Character modeling has evolved. There's a significantly different feel when the character is in motion. That's going to be very exciting. I can't wait until they show more of that stuff. Calvard is a cultural sphere in the vein of Eastern Europe with an influx of people from the Middle East. It feels like a mixture of Europe and Asia. Based on, what they've been telling us, I definitely get that feel as well. It is somewhat small compared to Erebonia. The scale of the map is equivalent to that of the Cold Steel series. It is still in development, but Kondo believes it will be very close in terms of size. So it's still going to be there's a very large section of the map, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is similar in size. You could say that the addition of Hajimari no Saki-e in Hajimari no Kiseki acts as a prologue to Kuro no Kiseki, which would be one of the last couple episodes, last 3 episodes. We saw 90% of the characters in Kuro no Kiseki are new. If you did not know any better, you might look at the game screen and not realize it is a Trails game. The remaining 10% of the cast will be characters that are highly anticipated by fans. Now, we're all excited for new characters, right? But we can probably take a guess as to who the 10% probably will be. Obviously the people who have ties to Calvard, plus the people have already shown, which would probably be Rin, Ren, Zen. Analyst does come to mind, though I'm not too certain yet. I'm just assuming. Tita. Io was shown. Misha does have ties. I don't know if we'll see her though. There's also Kirika, if you guys remember who she is. I also feel like we'll probably see Swin, Nadia, Lapis, and C. Probably mostly as side characters. I don't think they'll be heavily involved, but we'll probably see them. I'm assuming. After that, let me know what you guys think would be possibly reappearing characters. These are just the ones that personally came to mind. I know there's probably more that I'm forgetting, but I'm sure you guys can probably tell me. 3 characters have been here so far. A Kirito-looking character, a dual-wielding redhead with a Middle Eastern appearance, and a character that looks like Elisa minus the attitude and with the chest of Ryza. Kondo would not say which one is the protagonist, though it is obvious if you recall the earlier note about the protagonist's associated colors. I find this comment about the female being a little funny, because if you guys don't know Ryza, or the game Ryza, Atelier Ryza, the main lead is very well endowed, and I don't think they would make her that well endowed. I mean, I'm pretty sure she has some nice figure to her, but probably not to that extent. Anyways, fans would be disappointed if society was not depicted. Kondo also wasn't able to comment on the oaths, but each will be depicted properly. This is an interesting one because what's Ouroboros gonna do to progress with their plan when they made an agreement not to interfere with the, with whatever the hell is probably going on in Calvard? So it'll be interesting to see how that's gonna play out, probably in the background. The next one's actually really, really important here. The game will have a proper ending. This is actually really big because the game will not be dependent on a cliffhanger like TS3, TS1, FC. All those games depended on a cliffhanger linked to the next game. And having a proper ending means we'll actually get a full experience, probably. Much like how Zero and Azure were essentially complete games in their own, even though it was a duology, they were actually a complete game itself. If the game does not sell well, there will not be a sequel, and the Trail series is no exception. Yeah, that's pretty much obvious. The amount of content in the game is about equal to a single Trails of Cold Steel title, so a lot of stuff. The Trails of Cold Steel games had a large number of allies, but Kuro no Kiseki will not have as many due to the protagonist line of work. This is pretty big also, because less allies means probably more character development for specific characters. I know Trails of Cold Steel in specific had a huge problem with character development, with Class 7 in specific, and just limiting, associates, I guess you could say. Will allow us to get to know people a little bit better. And also, I was reading around a little bit more on Twitter about, this line in specific due to the protagonist line of work. It looks like, they work some sort of shady business behind the scenes, which is why they don't really have many allies anyway, which is why they don't have much allies. Don't know too much yet. I don't want to comment too much about that. I just want to talk about what we're presented with already. And then instead, there will be more enemies, which is good, which is kind of what I expected. Calvard is a very crazy place, to say the least, from what we've been kind of told so far, I guess you could say. There will not be 50 playable characters. Yeah, that's a lot to manage. There's a screenshot of a battle scene. Yes, we've gone over that. Movements and battles are seamless. Now, this gives us some more insight into the type of battle system that we can expect. Now, when I think of movement and battles being seamless, I think of games like, for example, the two that come to mind would be Final Fantasy VII Remake, obviously. Final Fantasy 15. Those had very seamless battles. You would just walk around, see an enemy, you would immediately transition into a battle. And then next we have, while action elements have been added, Falcom is not considering anything that requires any sort of input skills. Commands are input in real time instead of pausing. So could this be the end of turn-based? Probably. Am I sad to see it go? Yeah. Would I be open to see something new? Sure as hell would. You will also have the option to switch to command style battles. I'm very intrigued by this one. I'd love to see how this one works in specific. Arts and crafts remain as they were, but Arcus is replaced by Zifa, okay, which would be basically our new Arcus. There are no combat links or brave orders, but there's a new system in place that is said to be quite amazing. I'm interested to see what they replaced it with. Gonna be quite interesting. And then there's a topic system that has to do with conversations with NPCs. Now, when I think of topic system, two things come to mind. Well, first things first. I've been playing 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim lately, and they have this topic system called the Thought Cloud. And each character in the game has a Thought Cloud that has a set of topics that you can talk to, or, well, present to a specific NPC, and they'll talk to you based on what you ask them. And I'm not sure if I don't think it'll be like that. There's a possibility. I really like it in 13 Sentinels, but there's also, you know, how they do it in Western RPGs, you know, like Mass Effect, Witcher, Fallout, Skyrim, whatever, what have you. Something like that, of that nature. But I don't think they'll go the Western style route. I'd love to see how they do it. I don't want to speculate too much, but so let's just move on. And then next we got Alignment Flame, is a system in which, depending on your playstyle, your character's alignment is as lawful, gray, chaotic, will change, influencing your status as well as your story. There will not be any situation where an event does not occur to your specific alignment. I think this is actually going to be really cool. This provides more watchability for playthroughs online, because, you know, someone can probably go like the lawful route or the gray route or the chaotic route, whatever, and it'll be interesting to see how dialogue affects, you know, the story. Now, I was also reading around on Twitter about how you would go about this, and I read one post and it said, for example, if you wanted to turn in a criminal or not to the guild or whatever. I'm not really too certain how it's exactly going to happen, but I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. Next, we have, there's an alternative to bond events. Just no romance, please. If it's romance, just keep it completely straightforward, canon. I don't want branching routes, please. I don't want another deal with Cold Steel about that. And as for platforms, Kondo said he would like to release it on PlayStation 4. That's as well as other platforms where there is demand. That is, yeah, so basically PS4, you know, PC. Eventually, they probably want to go for PS5 next. Since there are usual technical challenges, we'll consider starting where there's most demand. Yeah, okay. And Nif Home Falcom as a whole is making preparations to support PlayStation 5. So that's it for the interview. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. I'm super excited. I cannot believe this is going to get released in 2021. Wow, things are going fast. Again, if you'd like to discuss this more with me, aside from YouTube, you can always feel free to join my Discord. Links down below. I do have a ton of unique Trails emotes spreading across multiple different characters. I'm still adding more as we go, but that's it for today's video. I'll see you guys next time. Probably I'll make it when I make another Hajimari video. So see you guys then.